Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have my March book haul. Normally I have been doing my book haul and wrap up in one video, and I am hoping to go back to that after this month because I am doing this project, or trying to do this project this year, where for every 2 books that I read that are not rereads, so anything else is not a reread, I'm allowed to buy 1 new book. I bought more books than that this month. So I did actually have a punishment during my TBR game for April, the next coming month, that I did. And that's all I really had, punishment-wise, because, book buying bans, especially strict book buying bans, don't work for me. Especially because the reason I have a lot of books this month are book sales. So, I saved money buying books versus if I was just doing it normally. So I do have quite a lot of books to show you guys today. Some of the books here are ones that I have purchased previously, so they don't count toward my TBR thing. Some of them are Stephen King ones that also don't count toward my TBR thing because I'm reading them later in the year and I don't want to punish myself for getting books that I already know I'm going to read. It's just going to take a while to get to them. And then I also have a couple gifts here as well. Those don't count toward my TBR thing either. But in total, I have 59 books to show you guys today. Most of them do count. I will have to probably count as we go to see exactly how many I have here that I need to count as this is what I should have bought versus what I did buy, but I have 59. Not all of these, obviously, are going to be counting for that TBR thing, but no matter what I read in the month of March, which I think was 14, not all of that were new books, so whatever it was, I went over my goal. It happens. So we're going to start with the gifts, work our way through semi-categories of the books that I have here, just how I organize it in my mind. And yeah, 59 books. We should probably get started on the haul. So like I said, the first few books that I have here are actually gifts. I did the trans rights readathon at the end of March. It was March 20th through March 27th. And one of the things that the first person did that I'm going to be talking about was offer to purchase a book from somebody's wish list as long as they had a trans book on that wish list. So either from an author that was trans or non-binary, or about a book that had characters that were trans and non-binary. And I actually received 2 books from MJ James, so thank you so much. The first one is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This is one that I have had on my radar for a while. I talked about it in one of my new releases videos when it was coming out, because it sounds so intriguing. Even just the authors that blurb it and the comps that it has, TJ Klune's on the front, John Scalzi is on the back, and we also have Everina Maxwell inside the dust jacket on the flap here. Those are authors that I've loved their books, and it's Good Omens meets The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I'm sold already, but basically it sounds like we have a character who has been making a deal with a demon or something like that, and in order to save her own soul, she has to convince 7 violin prodigies to give up their soul. She ends up meeting the last person on her list, basically, who is transgender in this book, and is going to try and convince them to give their soul to this demon or devil, whatever it is. But then they also meet an interstellar starship captain, and I think romance also blooms from there. I don't know, but I'm very intrigued. The cover is gorgeous, and so this was the first gift that I received from MJ. The second one was An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. I read The Deep during the readathon, and MJ saw that and decided that they needed to gift me this, which I am super grateful for because I did like The Deep. We'll talk about it in my wrap-up that is going to be coming out after this video. I liked that one a lot. This one is a fuller length one, and the deep was more fantasy. This is going to be more sci-fi. I actually don't know much else about it, but like, I need to read it. I've heard many good things about this. Some people seem to even like it more than the deep, so that's always very promising. And of course, the author is non-binary. Then because of MJ, I decided to do the same thing. I was offering to buy people books off their wish list as long as they had trans books on there, and I sent a book off to Nicky, and Nicky ended up sending a couple back to me. So the first one that she sent me is Dragon Pearl by Yoon Ha Lee. This is a middle grade in the Rick Riordan Presents line from a trans author, and it's going to be dealing with Korean mythology, but in a sci-fi setting. Like, I'm very excited for this one. And they also sent me The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. This is a non-binary author. This one's gonna be more YA fantasy, necromancy sort of things. I heard a lot of good things about this, like when it was first coming out, and I do need to read it. So thank you again so much, Nicky, for that. So those were the presents, the gifts that people sent me. Everything else I have here I bought with my own money. Yes, actually, the first stack I have here, I have a vlog. I went to Bookman's, which is a used bookstore in Arizona. And I actually went through in more detail about the books that I bought. I had store credit, so I did purchase this with my own money, but it was store credit. But I ended up purchasing Pet Sematary, The Green Mile, The Gunslinger, The Drawing of Three, and Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. So those are the Stephen King books that I have currently. I also got The House of Slaughter by James Tynion IV. This is an offshoot, a spin-off prequel, maybe, of Something is Killing the Children, which is a comic series I absolutely love. And then I got In an Absent Dream and Across the Green Grass Fields by Sean McGuire. Those are books in the Wayward Children series, and they had really beautiful hardcovers, so I got those. So this is all from a vlog, so that's why I'm not going to like hold them all up individually, but I got these with store credit. The next things I have here are BookBox books. I only have two currently, and they are both Illumicrate books. The first one here is the December Illumicrate, which we decided in like January's haul or something like that. The Illumicrate books that I was still waiting for from 2022 don't count on my TBR challenge thing, but this is The Red Scholar's Wake by Alette de Botard. I might have said that wrong. I think it's French. This is a sci-fi. I believe it is sapphic. I don't know much else about it, but it is gorgeous. Like, the sprayed edges, the gradient sprayed edges, like, I love. Or like this. Anything under the dust jacket, like naked hardcovers, I'm a sucker. We do also have very beautiful end pages that look like fish and like ocean stuff. It's gorgeous. And then it is a little bit different on the back. These look more like a turtle and some crabs, but again, very gorgeous. I think there's like a sentient spaceship in this, which is cool. And this one came with a signed book plate instead of a signed book, which is fine, but like that's part of that here. So again, don't know too much about it, but it is going to be adult sci-fi, and like I said, I think it is a sapphic story. And then I did end up picking up the February Illumicrate. So this is Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Amelie Wen Zhao. This is a gorgeous book again. And this one is going to be fantasy based, Chinese mythology based. I don't know much else about it, but I did read a different book by Amelie Wen Zhao a couple years ago, and wasn't my favorite, but it was good enough that I'm very curious about newer work from her, and so I had to pick this up. And I'm so glad I did. Like, look at how gorgeous. Or like, yeah, the edges, we have the blue here and like a light purple here. Let me tell you, actually, the edges of these books go together so well. Like very nice. But yeah, I don't know too much about this, but I'm very excited. It also has a printed stuff on the hardcover. Like, this is the kind of book I want all the time. I want something printed on the hardcover book, gorgeous end papers with the signature on the end paper, like in the book like that. Like, that's cool. But yeah, I don't know too much else about it, but I am very, very excited because like I said, I did like a different book that I read by her. So those are the 2 book box books that I have for this month. Then we have some other pre-order type of stuff that I picked up. So the first one is The Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. The yellow on this does not want to show up on the camera very well, but this is going to be a romance. It's published by Berkeley, and yeah, this one reminds me of like a Tumblr blog sort of thing that I had read before, like somebody being like, oh, somebody summoned a demon and they have to like help them or whatever. But it's basically, yeah, like a witch who I think is trying to like bake or something and ends up summoning a demon and can't get rid of him because she doesn't want to sell her soul to him, and so they have to pretend to fake date in front of like family and friends. And I don't know, it sounds adorable. Like, I definitely needed this one. I need to read this. I also picked up the paperback copy of The Other Merlin by Robin Schneider. I love these copies, this cover, way more than the original hardcover cover, but I've heard many good things about this book. I am very much an Arthurian legend type of girl. Sometimes it depends on my mood, but like in general, I'm always intrigued by them, and so yeah, I needed this one. Yeah, this one I believe our like Merlin character is a girl, but she has to dress up as her brother because she's not supposed to be practicing magic or something like that. There is a sequel, and I need to read this one obviously first, but I needed to pick it up with the new cool covers. I also pre-ordered A Tournament of Crowns by Elise Kova. This is book 3 in the Trial of Sorcerers series. It's a YA fantasy series. The first book has a magical competition. The second book didn't, even though I was sort of expecting it, but this one is supposed to again, and I'm very, very excited for that because I absolutely loved the first book. I loved the competition aspect and the twist that we had at the end. Elise Kova is an indie author, and so she has some of the most gorgeous like standard hardcovers. Like, these aren't special editions, these are her standard hardcovers because she is an indie author and she can do that. I do also get them signed because I love this series so much. And then we have some manga pre-orders. The first one I have here is Orange to You Dear One by Ichiko Takano. This is the final one in the Orange series. I feel like we've heard that for a while now and they just keep having epilogues, which I don't mind because I love this series so much, but I think this is supposed to be the final like epilogue. I don't even know exactly what it's about, but Orange in general, because this is like volume 7 potentially, is about a girl who gets a letter from herself from the future telling her that she needs to like go befriend a certain boy before he ends up dying that year. And so yeah, I had to read it. Then another pre-order I have here is Tombs by Junji Ito. Junji Ito is a horror manga author that I absolutely love, and this is like his newest short story collection. I actually don't know what this is about because I never looked into it. I saw the cover, saw it was new, and it does say Fresh Nightmares, so I bought it. Let's see what the back says. Countless tombstones stand in rows throughout a small community, forming a bizarre tableau. What fate awaits a brother and sister after a traffic accident in this town of the dead? In another tale, a girl falls silent, her tongue transformed into a slug. Can a friend save her? Then, when a young man moves into a new town, he finds the house next door has only a single window. What does his grotesque neighbor want, calling out to him every evening from that lone window? Yeah, it's a short story collection by Junji Ito. I need to read it. Those were the pre-orders. Now, speaking of Junji Ito and manga, part of the reason this haul is so big is that Barnes & Noble finally, after so freaking long, had a manga sale. It was buy one, get one half off of all of their manga, and actually their anime DVDs and stuff too. I didn't get any of those, but I went overboard on the manga. The good thing, potentially, is that in April, there is a 30 and 30 manga challenge going on, hosted by Isabel from Happy For Now, Shae from Shae Geeks Out, Ashley from Bookish Realm, and Bree from Locked Booketition. I'm informally doing it because I technically already read one manga at the very beginning of April, on April 1st. Today's April 2nd, so I haven't read anything else yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do 30 and 30, but I officially have enough manga that I could do 30 and 30. So I do have Black Paradox by Junji Ito. This is actually the one that I read on April 1st, so you guys will see it in my April wrap-up. But this is one that came out around, what was it, December maybe of 2022, and I had heard from somebody that watches my videos. They left a comment saying that this is actually one of their favorite Junji Itos. This one does deal with some hard topics. I mean, he is a horror manga author, but this is specifically about 4 characters who come together because they want to commit suicide. So if that is something that you need to be aware of it. But this one I have read already. Then I also picked up PTSD Radio. This is actually an omnibus edition of volumes 1 and 2 by Masaki Nakamaya. This is another horror manga that I had never heard of until I saw that Kristina from Northwest Reader had picked it up and like was taking pictures and stuff for Instagram. I think they liked it, although I'm not too sure how much into manga they are yet. So I know they need to read more Junji Ito, because like I keep telling them, read more Junji Ito. But I'm very curious about this. I actually don't know much about it except for like flipping through it. You do see some very horrific manga art and images and stuff, and so I am very curious about it. Yeah, the cult horror hit from the creator of Fuan no Tane comes to print. I don't know that one. An unseen hand tugs at your braid. You find an old sealed box with a tangled mess of dark hair inside. That's creepy already. In the hallway outside your room, a river of curls is slinking away, an ominous lump at its heart. It won't be long before you feel Oguchi-sama's fingers slithering across your scalp. Before it's too late, turn into PTSD Radio. I'm very, very curious about this one, and like that summary, perfectly creepy. Then the next one I picked up is Can't Stop Cursing You Volume 3 by Kensuke Koba. This is a continuation of a series that I have been reading and loving. I gave volumes 1 and 2, both 5 stars. They are very creepy, very like paranormal fantasy. Our main character is like a curse hunter or a curse breaker, and in this world people can actually like make a pact with a curse god, and these curses end up killing people. Each book so far has been a new sort of like crime, new curse that we're following and trying to figure out. So I'm expecting the same thing with this one, a new curse, but I've been absolutely loving them and I definitely need to read it. Then the next 3 volumes I have here, and this is part of the reason I have so much manga, is if I'm getting into a series, I usually like to have like 2, 3, 4 volumes of a manga at a time to read. They only had volume 3 of Can't Stop Cursing You at my store, so that's the reason I only have that one. But I have Love of Kill by Faye? I don't know, but I have the first 3 volumes, so volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. This is something that I saw on Shae's Instagram originally. It's a romance manga about spies or assassins, and I'm very, very intrigued by it, so I do have the first 3 volumes of this. Then I have volumes 3 through 6 of Given. This is by Natsuki Kizu, so I do have volume 3, volume 4, volume 5, and volume 6. This is a boys love series about a band. I read the first 2 volumes a couple years ago, actually. Really, really enjoyed them and wanted to get more into it. And so from my understanding, boys love, musicians, not too sexual because they're not wrapped up in plastic, because that does happen sometimes, but I definitely wanted to read more, so I have some more. Then I have the next 3 volumes that I needed of Perfect World by Rie Aruga, so I do have volume 4, volume 5, and volume 6. These are more romance ones. I read the first 3, again, probably a year or 2 ago. Absolutely love them. They do have one of our main characters in a wheelchair, and so the first 3 volumes are romance and stuff, but it's also dealing with being a caregiver and having a disability and this kind of stuff. And I know it's written by the author from a caregiver's point of view, so just keep that in mind when you go in, because they used to have to take care of their mother who was wheelchair bound. So the things that we're getting into, some of the topics that we're getting into, are more based in the caregiver's perspective, but I've absolutely been loving the romance of them, and so I knew I needed to pick more up. Then I have the first 7 volumes of Witch Hat Atelier, hopefully I'm saying that right, by Kamome Shirahama. The reason I have 7 of these is I actually did read the first 4 on ebooks last year. Absolutely love the series, 5 out of 5 stars. So I have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4 that I have read before, and then I picked up volume 5, volume 6, and volume 7 to continue. These follow a girl, I think it's actually her right here, who wants to have magic, like so bad, but in this world you sort of have to be born with magic, and then she realizes that something weird is going on, something is happening, and she does get taken in as an apprentice under a different magician, and it's this whole little cute like coven of these magicians and witches, and it's like this guy and his partner in this world with like these 4 little witches trying to learn magic, and things are happening, conspiracies are happening, and I have loved every single volume that I've read so far, which is the first 4, so that was why I picked up 3 more. I know I'm not going to be caught up to the series yet, but the art style is adorable, and just like, I needed them. Then I picked up the first 4 volumes of My Love Mix-Up by Wataru Hinakure. This is one that I've been meaning to read for a while. We have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and volume 4. So these are ones that are LGBTQ. From my understanding, it's like starts off as like a miscommunication, like one of the boys ends up borrowing an eraser or something from a classmate, and it has the other boy's name like written on it with a heart or something, and so I'm assuming some girl had a crush on this guy and the guy thinks this other guy has a crush on him, but it does turn into an LGBTQ like YA romance, and I need to read it. The art style looks adorable, and I've been hearing really good things about it, so yes. Then, while I was at Barnes & Noble for the buy one get one half off manga sale, I couldn't help myself and bought a few other things. The first thing that I have here is Mysteries of Thorn Manor by Margaret Rogerson. This is the novella sequel to Sorcery of Thorns, which I absolutely loved. 5 out of 5 stars last year. Like, the characters were what made it for me personally. Like, I loved them so much. So the fact that we have a novella with them, yes, I needed it. And it's like a cute little book. Like, I don't know what I was expecting from it. I wasn't expecting how cute and little it is, but it is absolutely adorable. It is a novella. It's very short. I needed it. That's all I can say. I needed it. Then, because I'm me and I couldn't pass it up, I did end up getting the next 2 Ice Planet Barbarian books that I needed. So I have Barbarian Mine, which is book number 4, and Barbarian's Prize, which is book number 5 by Ruby Dixon. I absolutely love these new Berkeley covers because I do feel like this fits the vibe of the series more than the original. Like, I just absolutely love these. These are sci-fi romances that do have some steam in them, and yeah, I'm a sucker for sci-fi and romance. I do really enjoy these ones, and I love the spines of these. Can we even see how yellow this one is? Probably not. They're very fluorescent, and I love it. Almost done here. I did also pick up Nightfall, which is the next book that I needed in the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger. This is a middle grade series. I think this is book 6. Yes, it is. That, again, I have absolutely been loving. Every single book is my favorite book, basically, as I keep going. I love this so much. It follows our main character of Sophie, who in the first book I believe is like 11. In the last book that I read, I think she turned 13 or 14. And she finds out in the first book that she has magic. Like, she's not human, she has magic. And She's trying to integrate herself into this elf society, and I love the found family aspect. I love the friendship aspect. I love that we are having some sort of like conspiracy stuff going on, like she's trying to figure out these problems. It's not just her band of friends is helping. There's very, very supportive adults in her life as well, which I absolutely love. And so yeah, when I was there, I picked up the next one in the series. And then finally, we're on the last book. This is a book that I have read before, so that's good at least. I picked up Dragon Age Tevinter Nights. This is something that was edited by Chris Bain, Patrick Weeks, Matthew Goldman, and Christopher Morgan. I read this as an ARC forever ago, whenever this first came out. When did this first came out? It has a map or something in it? Did I not realize it has a map? Look at that. Didn't even know it has a map. But this is a short story collection that I first read as an ARC forever ago, it feels like. When did this come out? 2020. So I probably read it at the very beginning of 2020. And it's a short story collection about Tevinter and the Dreadwolf and stuff like that. It's based after the most recent Dragon Age game, Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's going to be leading up to some of the events in the newest Dragon Age game that we don't know when it's coming out, but they have announced that the title is Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I am very, very excited, and I really, really loved pretty much all the stories in here because they do connect to different characters that we know and love, and it's leading into the next game. And I just did not have this on my shelf, and so again, it was one of those very impulsive, oh, there it is, I grab it, I have it, it's mine. So yeah. Oh, and did I say that was the last one? That was the last physical book. I forgot. I have ebooks that I need to share with you guys as well, because we do share ebooks here. So the first ebooks that I wanted to talk about are the Black Trans Fairy Tale ebooks by St. Lin. This is something that I funded on Kickstarter, and they came in, I believe, at the very, very end of February. Too late for me when I actually filmed my February haul, so that's why it's coming in here. And I did read Cinder Ella during the trans rights readathon, so I'm hauling 3, but 2 of them are unread. I've already read 1, but these are all by a non-binary author. They're all trans feminine characters, and so Cinderella is a retelling of Cinderella. Mer Made is a retelling of The Little Mermaid, where I believe Prince Eric is now Prince Erica, and then book 3 is Beauty's Beast, and I do believe Belle is also the trans feminine woman. I absolutely loved Cinderella. Just as, you know, a spoiler, I have a vlog about the trans rights readathon. You guys can actually see all of my thoughts there, but I purchased these ones, I believe, like in January. It was a very quick turnaround time for Kickstarter. Usually when I do Kickstarter stuff, it feels like it takes forever. But I was very glad that I did it. I still have these last 2 books to read, but those are ebooks that I needed to haul and mention. And so these last 7 books, so I think I originally said that I had like 59 books to share. I think it's 58 because I was under the impression that I had an extra one for the ebooks, but no, there's only 7. There was a Stuff Your Kindle event for romance books on March 31st. On March 31st, there were hundreds of books in all of the different romance genres: fantasy romance, sci-fi romance, paranormal romance, urban fantasy romance, contemporary, erotica, like everything. All of these books were free. So there's that. At least I wasn't spending any more money. Don't fully remember what everything's about, but I did like go through and read the summaries and everything when I picked them out. So the first one I have here is The Heartbreak Handshake by J.R. Hart. This is going to be an asexual romance, which I'm very excited for. Paxton McKee, Clover Hill's rideshare driver and handyman, is known by his customers as responsible, dependable, and loyal. On first dates, though, he's known by another word: boring. His dates never seem to appreciate his in-depth knowledge of famous aviation disasters or his Lego expertise. His book club buddy, Mrs. Sawyer, keeps trying to set him up, but after so many failed dates, Paxton's giving up on finding someone who can accept him, special interests, stims, and all. So I'm assuming autism stuff as well, which I'm very excited for. Handcrafter Remy Sawyer put Clover Hill in their rearview mirror to sell at craft fairs across the country, but being a traveling artisan is harder than Remy thought. With mounting bills, they've ended up back home. Being in their old teenage bedroom is weird. Even weirder, their mother keeps trying to set them up on dates, even after they've made it clear the homecoming is temporary. To get Mrs. Sawyer off their backs, Paxton and Remy agree on a scheme. They'll go on 3 dates. When it's over, Paxton can pretend to be heartbroken and Remy can get back on the road. They even shake on it. But awkward dates lead to the realization the two have a lot in common. Kissing is gross. Check. Spending quiet time doing projects together is enjoyable. Double check. But Remy is still hell-bent on leaving Clover Hill again, and Paxton is dead set on staying. Can they find a new vision that doesn't involve Remy leaving their kindred spirit behind, or are they both destined to lose the person who might be their perfect companion? I also think that this was under the LGBTQ, like, trans umbrella in the list of stuff, so I think we also have a non-binary main character, so like non-binary, autistic, asexual. I was in, like, 100%. Then we also had Secrets We Keep by Angel Lawson. I will tell you, the cover that I saw through Amazon is so much better than the cover on Goodreads. If I saw that cover first, I am a cover buyer. I might have left it because this is one that I'm a little apprehensive about, but it was free. It's a young adult, sort of dark Why Choose Romance. And I'm not the biggest dark romance reader, but I think it's not dark romance as much as a mystery thriller with a romance. So it says, sometimes the prettiest girls have the ugliest secrets. Kenley Keene started senior year with football games, homecoming, and the SATs on her mind. By then, she'd given up that Rose Waller would ever be her friend again, or hope that Finn Holloway would give her the time of day. She was focused on the future, the promise of graduating in the spring and leaving Thistle Cove behind. All of that was before Rose's car was found abandoned on the bridge. Before Kenley found out the truth about her former friend and the secrets she kept. It was also before Kenley reconnected with the 3 boys that meant so much to her before sides were taken, lives were changed, and one girl went missing. How far will Kenley go to uncover Rose's secrets? And so this is one that is a romance. It is YA, so I have a feeling that we're not going to get too dark, although I'm very curious about having that sort of mystery element in there. Also, I recognize the name Angel Lawson, so that was a plus in my category. Then I also picked up The Nightingale Prince by Zach Bell. The crown of a Fae prince is a dangerous thing. Toby's boyfriend just kicked him to the curb, so when he inherits a decrepit mansion in the remote Aussie bush, he jumps at the chance for a break. He finds a charming little town full of big personalities and a handsome, mysterious gardener. But Toby will soon discover that everything he thought he knew is a lie. He's not even human. The Fae are real, and he's one of them. The ancient nature Fae Amathon? I can't say that, has buried the pain of losing his lover a century ago. These days, he finds plants easier to talk to than people, but Toby pulls him out of his shell so easily. When the same evil that took his lover returns, he'll fight to protect Toby and the chance to love again. An ancient magic is reawakening, and Toby is the heir. To make matters worse, Fae hunters want him dead, and they'll destroy this quiet town to stop the Nightingale Prince from rising. Amathon and Toby will have to fight together to survive, and failure means the end of all Fae kind. So this is a male-male romance with, like, Fae. Again, that's why I picked it. We also have Scarred Strings by Tanya Joyce. He was the hottest rising rock star in Los Angeles. I was an American TV sweetheart. His raw talent, good looks, and bad reputation sold millions of records and attracted the fans, but surviving the car crash that killed his brother had destroyed his soul, and he hasn't been able to play music since that fateful night. My show was about to end. Thanks to being screwed over by the people I'd trusted, I was close to financial ruin and desperate to find a new job. But with my fading star status, I struggled to land auditions. He needed to clean up his act to save his band and record deal. I needed to be noticed by Hollywood heavyweights. So our managers devised a plan. 1 summer, 14 weeks of publicity, be seen together. The good girl dating the bad boy of rock would turn heads, hopefully for the right reasons. I could do this. I could fake date a rock star. But Flint Glover wasn't what I expected. He was beyond broken. He needed therapy, not me. I should walk away. I should. If I didn't, I wasn't sure either one of us would come away from this unscarred. So this does seem a little bit dark. We'll see. I don't think it's a dark romance necessarily. I think it just is going to deal with heavier topics. But it is a, like, fake dating romance. So, yeah. Then I also picked up his Grumpy Childhood Friend by Jackie Lau. This is technically the second book in the Cider Bar Sisters, which is one of her series. I have the first book as well. I think it's like His Big City Neighbor. I haven't read that one either, but book 2 was free. I read a different one by Jackie Lau, I think a Christmas novella that I really, really enjoyed. So I have been sort of picking up some of her books when I can and just have not read them yet. But this one, it says it's been 5 years since Charlotte Tam had to endure a public proposal at a baseball game, literally the stuff of her nightmares, and realized her ex never really knew her. She hasn't dated since, afraid that no man will understand her cranky, introverted, coffee-obsessed self, and she wants to try again. Her friends suggest she ask a guy to ease her into the dating game and give her some lessons. That night at the cider bar, Charlotte runs into Mike Guo, her childhood best friend who lived in the house next door 20 years ago. Surely, easygoing Mike, who is now surprisingly handsome, must do well in the world of love. He's the perfect candidate for this. But as they go on practice dates around Toronto and even have kissing lessons, Charlotte starts to fall for Mike, and that was never part of the plan. He's too different from her, just like her ex. How could it work? And she suspects Mike has secrets of his own. Can their childhood friendship really become love? So obviously, this feels a little bit like Kiss Quotient in the like let's practice dating sort of thing, but I like the idea of knowing the guy already as well, like friends to lovers, so we'll see about this one. Then one that actually had been on my radar for a while and it showed up during this Stuff Your Kindle thing is First Moon by Richard Amos. This is going to be, I believe, werewolf hunter sort of stuff. Hunter, half werewolf, one hell of a baker. Already it got me. Need someone or something hunted down? Akira Murakami is your man. No target is too small for him to get his energy, sucking blades swinging, and all jobs are welcome at the right price. The bills have to be paid after all. Living in a world where the apocalypse almost happened can be complicated, as is being the hybrid son of the high werewolf of, well, everything. But Akira likes to live a relatively simpler life than dear old Papa would like, shunning all the political crap, living by the sword, and perfecting that recipe for dark chocolate and raspberry brownies. Killing is easy. Brownies are easy. Too easy. To hell with the simple life. There's a werewolf killer stalking the city, and Akira is about to be caught in the middle of everything. Step into an alternative London where the London Underground is above your head. Hyde Park, a prison for some creepy shadow creatures, and plenty of baking goes down in a tiny flat on Gray's Inn Road. So it's an urban fantasy, male-male romance. And then the last one, officially, is Dead and Buried by T.K. Eldridge. This is the first book in a series that, from my understanding, is going to have a like romance in it, but I don't think they mention it all in the summary. It's more of like a mystery, paranormal mystery sort of thing. So it says, detectives Kennedy and Donovan were partners for years. Then one of them died. And yet they're still partners. Kennedy has to solve Donovan's death while his partner's ghost helps him, sort of. How do you explain where you got the tips? How do you avoid showing them that you're speaking to thin air and that, no, you haven't lost your mind? Kennedy has to hide how he's figuring it all out so he can keep his badge and solve the murder before he ends up dead and buried too. I think from my understanding, the romance part that comes into this is actually not like him and the dead partner, although I would have been down for that too. But again, I'm very curious about a mystery with romance, so I had to pick it up. Those, I think, are officially the last books that I needed to talk about. So yeah, a huge haul. I think out of all the ones, out of all like the 58 I had here, 41 of them were ones that technically count for my TBR challenge, which means I should have read 82 books already in order to buy these. I didn't. I am only planning on getting some book boxes that I've already like pre-selected as like these are the ones I want in the next couple months. So hopefully we eventually get to the point where I'm not way over what I should have been purchasing. I had like 7 extra books saved up from last month, plus probably around 5 or 6 books total that I could have used this month. So I should have been able to purchase like 13 potentially. I ended up technically getting like 41. So yeah. yeah, that is my huge book haul. Like I said earlier, at one point I will have my wrap up next. This should hopefully be one of the only months where I'm still having 2 different videos for hauls and wrap ups, because I do like putting them together so we can compare numbers. The numbers just obviously were way too big this month. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will see you then. Bye.